A self-empowered woman, we know one thing, mystic or not, and I am a 5D mystic. So here's what we got. We know that life is yours, mine, yours. It is whatever you make of it emotionally and mentally, and that is what will accompany you in the physical. So every 24 hours is all that you have, and in your everyday, thanks to my La Dolce Vita influence, the Neapolitan heart, soul, the land, all of it, the spirit, the people, with that lovely uncertainty and chaos, it is amazing. You wake up every day, thank goodness, and like, oh, I have breath. Okay, so the living in the now is like this. Every breath that you're gifted, you know that you have been given the opportunity to love. So a empowered woman will not be using time with men that are love dependent, or women for that matter. But women, it is a different story, in an effort to talk about those differences that have been made. As a mystic, I'm also channeling a little bit. So I didn't think too much of the full moon until I saw it full circle. And 4D, 3D, they don't know that spirituality and sciences come together. Okay, so welcome to anybody who's new. A 5D mystic here in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. You can be here too. Life is yours, whatever you make of it. I'm also attachment trauma informed. So I know about, for example, this beautiful grid, a relationship grid by Terry Real. And Terry Real, he talks about how it's confusing for people to love themselves first. Then we have Peter Pans, is what I call them, that tell people loving yourself first is a myth. I got something better for you. I love myself first, and that's why a healthy, self worth woman, it's not about being smarter than any man. When I hear coaches who say women are single because they're smart, no. Some of us, one, are polyamory, and so we keep things to ourselves and with our partners because we're not accepted by all, right? Other times, it's funny how when you're sharing a lot of flexibility, how it gets interpreted, but we'll leave that one to the side. It's always fascinating to me to meet Cuscos and to hear when Cuscos make statements. And I call Cuscos any person who is basically a teenage version of themselves because they didn't grow up. I'm attachment trauma informed. So I bring together human spiritual and spirituality elements and say, hey, you can be you with the inner growth mindset. Your thoughts, yours. Your emotions, yours again. But do you have a window welcome? Okay, so before we begin, we here at IHP care for all people. Dr. Daniel Fox is great for anybody who has people in your life that might have, whether it's borderline, malignant, or covert narcissism, bipolar. I haven't watched enough of the data, meaning his videos, but he also talks about highly sensitive people. And he gives really great, not only worksheets and workbooks and exercises, but he helps you to understand if you have a favorite person or more that is doing work. Obviously the ones who are not doing work, it still can help you because you can learn all on your own because you care about your herd how to handle people with low self-esteem, which is another group, but any person who is not yet their adult version. So that's separate from obviously the diagnoses, but low self-esteem, you'll be able to notice it because of people not knowing, again, how to be differentiated. I'll expand in a minute. But that's why a healthy self-worth woman, it's not about how old you are. I was a teenager telling teenagers, no, I wasn't telling them anything. Pachas don't lecture low self-esteem people. And again, nothing to do with what I was talking about. The Dr. Daniel Fox is for welcoming people of all people to know that's a good source, not other people that I've seen saying, here, come here to who's immune to narcissism. That's a mantle of mental health. There's a superhero cape somehow, forgetting that a narcissist is not a group that needs to be, objectified like that. Also, people who though say, because they're picking on avoidance, I'm going to stick to being an avoidant. That also is a mental health mantle because you're sticking to what? To stay within a not secure body. Your body wants to return home to its actual secure attachment, which was what your 0 1 year old wanted in the first place. So any of that to me is a mantle. It means I pretend to know what I'm talking about, but I'm a superhero cape, which is why it's the fourth step to recovery of any trauma and trust break, which means I want bystanders. I know studies that have been presented to me. I don't know if they'll always continue to be true or not. This is where the academics. I'm pseudoscience lady, by the way, because I bring human, spiritual, and spirituality, and I know sciences and spirituality go together, and it's the good sciences people. And I know it's science, but I say sciences because it involves a bunch of different subject matters. neuroscience, neurobiology, what else? Physics, quantum physics. I don't know all the words to it. See, I give the gist of it. And it's for personal development, self-help, and people are serious about living life. Again, life is yours. Whatever you make of it, you will be here if you're a human love narrative. If you're a human suffering love, you're going to be like, no, there's laundry in the body. You can't be enlightened. Oh, I love that Zen master. He's out there for all the people who believe that. Some of us, we know emotions. It's not laundry. Where's Peter Levine? Let me go grab him. And Sadhguru. So, Peter Levine gives us a good way for you to know where you're at. And I hope that you have a good relationship with your emotions. If you don't, there's Patrick Tiahan. He's great for childhood trauma survivors and those who want to heal and do emotional lifting and not stick to the cowardice of emotional lazy people who are Pinocchios with ears. And there's the mantles of mental health. There's mantles of yoga. Those are spiritual bypassers. That's why they call each other names versus going to good therapy, EMDR, child parts work, somatics, and then doing personal development. The ones who say, I don't want to do it, they're just as much Pinocchios as anybody else. So there's different degrees of people who do human suffering love narrative. And I like to do what Albert Einstein says, stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution. So if you bring to me your apathy and you want to use my time with apathy, I'm going to listen to you, 3-year-old. And then I'm going to say, yeah, I hope in my compassionate prefrontal cortex brain that you can find solace or something, because you obviously have all things figured out. You told me about your crappy childhood, told me about everything you know. You even told me about the apathy is bigger than the motivation. Why are we talking about it again? Oh, you wanted a garbage can. It's okay. I'm a garbage can that will make flowers of what you just shared, because I love to love. I'm not going to give you a little prize though. So if you're wanting me to say, oh, they're there now, I don't do that, because I'm not your mother. I don't think you need a prize for living life, right? And you just told me something, which actually I'm going to know you don't want that, because that means I would pity you, which I don't pity you. You've made a free will conscious choice to leave what was determined. Thank you, Robert Sapolsky. So whatever karma's in there, let me go grab Sadhguru. You're like, I'm going to leave my 1-year-old and my 8-year-old to be like that, and my 11-year-old, and so you don't want to get therapy. Again, very straightforward, huh? Okay, if you just live totally, you will dissolve lots of karma. Yes, said Guru, but they need to know what that is. Living totally means that you experience anything that comes fully and intensely. Yes, you can do that with a restorative embodiment, with a secure attachment. Raise your hand. Empowered women here. That's why if you bring to me a closed heart, I'm going to notice that you're not here. So if you bring to me a dependent heart, I'm going to be like, okay, you need to back off. If you're going to play and have fun, I'm going to play and have fun. Which is why if you offer me a certain amount of money, depends what my heart says. My heart says, yep, we're going to enjoy this one. Okay, cool. If my heart's like, blank, nope, keep your money. I don't want it. That's how it works when you have a good gut. My gut is really good. So I know exactly who, nope, no radar, nothing, no expansion of consciousness here. It's a stagnating piece of whatever it is. It's a piece of meat. Because unfortunately, when people don't do the bright sides of neuroplasticity, their imagination is a shit show, and then their entire child gets left behind and they armor themselves in. It's really sad. And that's where we're going to leave that one alone, because they actually don't have this. They feel numbness. They don't do the good therapy. Peter Levine, when we can feel our body as the container, then the emotions and the sensations do not feel as overwhelming. They are being contained. Okay, so why do I mention Patrick Tiahan? Because he is a childhood trauma survivor. He's healed, and I always say healing, and he's a therapist. And he supports a community of people on YouTube. Go check him out. Like I said, he's really great for all people who want to learn about childhood trauma survivors and the ones who are taking it seriously. That way we can also network with people who are taking things seriously, because healthy, self-worth, empowered women want to support those who are healing their trauma, so that they can come and hang out with us and not be in any way, shape, or form near the human suffering love dependent women, men, theys who continue with stereotypes. And they're Peter Pans, and that's for the 3D, 4D, and human suffering love group. A 5D collective offers safe haven, safe space. Secure base 2 means I won't bullshit you. If I think you're basically dragging your tail, I'm going to say you're dragging your tail. That's because you're doing the trauma stuff, though. If you tell me I don't want to do it, Maria, I want to be Pinocchio, I'm going to be like, okay, but you told me to tell you what I think, right? Okay, so remember, I ain't going to lie to you. And if you come whining to me, I'm going to tell you, don't whine. You told me to tell you the truth, and I'm telling you the truth. And that's how we build relationships with Manny, Diego, and Sid. Those are not conscious lovers. You're not going to be with a person like that. If you're a person that is empowered, you're going to be with somebody who's always on a high. Why? Because it can be so, it's called emotional intelligence. It's called, I have a container that's so wide, it continues to widen, not that it's laundry. The Zen master in his laundry, he doesn't do mindfulness practice. Apparently, he doesn't like to sit with his left mode and his right and accept that disparate ideas can sit together and that we don't have all the answers ever to anything and we're still going to die. And our secondary human consciousness is there. It's not a dilemma for the ones of us who have a whole fun with uncertainty, unwanted, unexpected, the inner growth mindset. So your mind is everything again. 24 hours. I chose how to use my brain. Thank you, Marcus Aurelius. He's the one who got me to get out of being upset when I'd wake up from darkness. And I was like, oh my God, I would cry. I would actively cry. And at a certain point, I'm reading, and he's just making such a valid point. And his point was, why would you worry about something you can't do anything about? Why wouldn't you focus on leaving a legacy? And I'm like, legacy, whatever, but I want to leave something. I'm going to live actively. So aliveness is this, which is why karma, the way Sadhguru talks about it, it's when people are in their 0, 1 and up till they're 8, and then they're teenagers leading the way, and you see them out being clowns with their love dependent stereotype shit going on. Okay, so that's for those people, not for us. Us different. So one, Dr. Daniel Fox, great for any one of you who wants to learn more about how to support people who will be healing, thanks to him and all the other great therapists. Childhood Patrick Tiahan, survivor trauma therapist, he's great too. And he talks about the emotional disconnect that people will feel, they will notice, and then they will go get healed so that they can stop being in what are not really great relationships. So when you meet people who are not in their prefrontal cortex, they don't know how to do healthy boundaries. Those of us who do, like I said, love avoidant will notice your heart's closed. Love dependent will notice, and let me use Terry Real, thank you. So while he works with people, like Patrick Tiahan does too, that don't know how to love themselves first, I'm here to share. It's easy to love yourself first. If it's hard for you, you can come on over. I'll share with you. It's all about you being able to be spirituality. So living a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self. I and you are part of a herd. And I know how to work with whatever comes up and not project it. And so I don't do inner critic or outer critic. I don't walk into the supermarket, thank you, Patrick Tiahan, and say, that bitch, she looked at me weird. Because a cashier lady turned around and maybe looked at me, maybe she didn't. Okay, so when you're out of your hypervigilance, dysfunction, dysregulation, finally figuring out that anytime you're acting like Mean Girls or Hangover, you're being a teenager, then you're going to be in the land of 5D. Okay, so come on over and have fun. Healthy self-worth people will be able to notice those who are love dependents. And then there's those who are still not clear on the ones who hang out with the love dependents, because they're all love dependent. So what I've noticed is that lovely full moon has brought about a very specific, it's not a split as in we don't hang out together. No, Manny, Diego, Sid, they have a same place. The 1 to 5, all Ice Age, I love Ice Age. Pacha, Cusco's, you name it. Okay, so Pachas hang out like Manny does and everybody. And we come back to the middle and we hang out and then we go back out. Okay, so we build intimate relationships, secure connections, and secure relationships that are a secure attachment. That's for the polyamory and monoamory community. You decide together who you're going to build a home with, and that's by talking, which is why we have no saga with our twin flames or our soulmates for that matter. No, no, no. The 4D collective needs a superhero cape because that's where Elsa's journey people, the mantles, they did not get the recovery. They want the bystanders, so they witness. Nope, they're not witnessing. They're processing. Nope, they're not. What else? It's coming up. Oh, yeah, it is coming up for it to be let go. But instead of doing any of that, they're like, oh, look, there's Peter Pan. He is on my side. I like him. Oh, wait, there's Peter Pan, a she, Peter Pan, or a they. They're all on my side. I'm going to go. So there's those pain points, and they're all together like Braveheart, and they're all in their sympathetic. Okay, so when that is very clear to any person, you know what you do in a state of compassion. Wow, there's a group. There's an ethical cult, traditional cult, culty cult. Oh, look, there's 3D. Oh, look, there's 4D. So it's very clear. 5D, it's Christ consciousness. It's called the integration of the brain. You have your emotional intelligence on and your self-intelligence on. So you don't treat people like shit. If there's envy, jealousy, spite, that means there's low self-esteem. If there's shame, blame, fault, revenge, low self-esteem again. If there's shame and guilt, low self-esteem again. There's good therapists for all of that. Here we do personal development and we support the ones who take themselves seriously. Means you don't want to go being a shitty person, although we can all be shitty. Okay, so with that being said, I'm being very direct today as this lovely full moon has made it very clear. So when you look to the past, you're like, wow, okay, now I know how to present to the 5D collective what it is that this lovely new ascension energies and all that great stuff has brought to the table. So for anyone who loves functional adult love language, raise your hand. Okay, so you'll always find yourself in a spot when you're ascending and expanding. And that's where, whether it's with your Kundalini awakening and spirituality awakening, it's not torture. That's for the 4D body type. And that's because they don't get home to 3-year-old. They don't learn how to go to good therapy and get EMDR, child parts work, and somatics, and to wait until they are grounded in their humanity. Once they're grounded in their humanity, they will stop having out-of-body experiences, clinical dissociation, structural dissociation. They will stop acting like Cusco or a squirrel from Cusco land, or Pinocchio on the island with the donkeys, turning into active donkeys. These are the stories that I use so that you can understand it has nothing to do with Lucifer or the devil or a demon. No, there's Patrick McNamara, a neuroscientist, who explains what happens to a person's brain, fear receptor, and again, RAM, all of it. I have explanations and no excuses for why people can say, oh, they got tempted. Fear is from a body or embodied brain. Let's use words like grown-ups can versus the stories that the teenagers want so they can be looking pretty with their superhero capes. If you need a superhero cape, you're on step 4. You want to be Braveheart. That's not being grown up. No, and it's not your secure attachment. It's your hypervigilant, sympathetic, dysregulated, dysfunctional nervous system. You're a love avoidant, love dependent, and you're doing a low self-esteem little combination, which equals martyrs, superiors, blamers, and there you go. And that's not here. Those are all unsafe people because, like the teenagers who are motivated by their mood and completely disregarding that there's society outside of them telling them how to conduct themselves. I remember telling teenagers, don't come to me. Don't come to me with any of it. At a certain point, I learned not only you're not trustworthy, 2, you break a lot of rules and a lot of things, and I will rat you out. 3, because I want to be a member of society and grow up to do stuff with my life. And I learned how to stay humble, thank you, God and Jesus, because I was using the word good and bad as the grown-ups had taught me. And today I don't. Anarchy. I'm not talking about good or bad. In fact, these smart academics are talking about, should we really still be using this sentence of humans being inherently good or evil? Yeah, we shouldn't. I agree with the academics, and I am also an academic, which is why quantitative data, this is not. This is subjective experience, voices, perspective, stories. Personal development is personal. You want a subject matter expert, you go to the academics. You want peer reviewed, you go find the data. The data is not with the little pink adjectives of what they prefer or not. That's a whole different story. Discerning minds know social media is about social. If you want encyclopedia, yes, you go to Wikipedia, it's getting better, but we still have our organized entities that you go and look up good information. Like when you would go to, a library, which they still are out there, right, to go read. Not because it's more true, no, but you go and do research. So research is conducted in a series of, I wrote only the first part of the Inner Growth Mindset book with research. Because I need to do more research. You know how many books I read for the first part of it alone? Okay, so I'm just saying research works a certain way. When you're supporting people who are serious about self-help, it's fun. Content creation, online entrepreneurship, it's a great deal to be able to support the serious ones. So when we meet people who don't want to be their self, what happens? Nothing. Pachas don't lecture Cuscos. Okay, so an empowered woman, what happens when we meet any person? Once you're a teenager and then you're grown up, you just learn how to handle grown-ups better because they're grown-ups, thank goodness. So what is the story? The story is that people who choose human suffering love, they make up an excuse they justify their maladaptive child behavior. Thank you, Stephen Porges. So a person who is not doing I'm going to do inner growth, but they're doing inner critic and outer critic, and then they're going to do that self-soothing mechanisms. It can be drugs, drinking, fucking, all of it together. It can be hanging out with the very specific energy that is complementing what they need. So a person with a prefrontal cortex is going to look from far, far, far away and notice what's going on. And we're going to stay far away because, it's kind of like Sid. He always brings problems to Manny and Diego, right? Because Sid is a clingy. That's why his family leaves him behind. Not to be, poor Sid, leave him alone. But just saying. Okay, so Sid gets left behind because he's just so needy, and he finds a crew that knows how to handle him, but he's always bringing trouble, always. It's not an energy vampire. It's like having a 1-year-old, but they're walking. As a 3-year-old, they begin walking. By the time you get to be a grown-up and you're not going to good therapy, well, now you're walking and you're looking more and more like a buffoon to the actual grown-ups. Okay, so actual grown-ups, I'm 44. We will notice by the time you're in your mid-30s, there's going to be people who are emotionally maturing, and that's great. And then there are those who are instead enmeshing. Okay, now, with that being said, this full moon has brought clarity to all the people who don't want to have the human suffering love. Okay, and that's one. It's also brought in choices to those who, because when you meet somebody who has answers for you, when you are going through something emotional, it will be okay. I have options. I have options to not sit in apathy. I have options to live alive. Okay, so I'm being very serious. I like to get humorous. Empowered woman won't lie to you in your face. We won't bullshit you. We won't pity you. We won't do any of that. That's disrespectful. We'll tell you what it is. You don't like it. We're not going to be sitting around saying we're sorry. We're not going to treat you like a rude person either. But here's the part that we will always know, like I knew as a teenager. Confidence apparently makes you seem like you're a bitch or a snoot or whatever. So you know what happens as you get older? Nothing, except for I know healthy boundaries, and thank you, Terry Real, for letting me know how to explain it. I don't need to set it up. I already have my perimeter. And people will never like and know if they are not their own grown-up version. So that's all this is. It's not snob. It's so beautiful, by the way, to meet empowered men and women and theys. I don't know theys, but I know they're out there. And it's because of the great researchers and therapists out there. That's why I know they're here, because they're sharing with all the people how to be emotionally mature. And it's amazing. They're not like, you know what, secure attachment are boring people. No, those are all lame ass excuses. If you ask me, they're still not here. They're not ready to be here. And I will calm down. I'm going to reorganize and reframe. Thank you, somatic teachers. My somatic therapist teachers have informed every one of us in my courses that every body is healing itself and every brain. What I don't love seeing is when your body and your brain is trying to honor the life that is in you. And I got Pinocchios around wanting to twist things like the little manipulative, desperate people twist. And I have a very short temperament when it comes to manipulators in a specific way, because I already know that that's a poor human being who's 1-year-old is dying inside, and you're twisting things so much that you're making it, my stomach will be twisting, but not in anger, because I'm not going to get to correct you at all. You're your own body. I know way too well at this point, my attachment trauma information people, how that poor 1-year-old is finding the best compromise possible. Okay, so with that, I'm mixing and matching all of it. Self-empowered women don't tell people how to live their life. Not a friend, not a lover, not anyone. I'm going to live my life, and you can follow with me, and we can walk together and have fun. But if you're going to twist something, you're going to better bet I get to use the faculty of my mouth and that functional adult love language and the direct communication, so we don't lie. People say you should filter. No, no filters. I also won't shout at you. I won't do any of your choice is wrong. I won't disrespect that. Okay, so I'm trying to present the mannerism of a functional adult is this, is I'm going to softly engage with you as I listen to your explanation, as you justify your neediness and whatever it is you're twisting, because I've learned since a 16-year-old, I learned how to be here right now. This is really awesome, because I remember as a 16-year-old, I was out. It was not even funny. Any man, woman, it didn't matter who you were. If you twisted something, I was like, you're out. I'm done. I'm not even hearing you. I don't care what you see in me or don't see in me. I'm not going to put up with it. And I'm attachment trauma informed, so I know how unfortunate that 0 1 year old is doing, because their panicky could be resolved with good therapy, but a person needs to choose to want it. And because you're not, in the gutter, apparently that's the only way some people get to good therapists. It's really sad because it's not necessary. You will be able to notice if you say, why me? Why me? Well, I'm going to say, why me needs to turn around and say, wait a minute, let me look at my childhood trauma with a good therapist and get out of the why me. That's all. You don't even have to. You just say, I'm going to go to good therapy and get out of the human suffering, why me? Straightforward as it gets. Okay, so when you don't do any of it, that's why this lovely full moon, it's calibrated groups and groups, and when presented, why me, and then I'm choosing, selecting, great, your choice is awesome. Have fun, enjoy, and we will be playing with Manny, Diego. You go have fun, Sid. You come back around every now and then. Whenever you bring us trouble, we'll support us. The herd always supports each other, and there you go. So that's all. That's all, folks. But as I was trying to also get our lovely lovers, they're not the drama kings or queens. Nope. Self-empowered people don't bring dysfunction, dysregulating, love dependency, love avoidancy, none of it. They bring a conversation and more. And then if there's the need for good therapy, we have good therapists. Again, we work as a herd together. No need to be doing the whole eggshells that some people do, because the eggshells, anytime I see eggshells, it's a mantle. It's a mantle, and it's a person who hasn't even had the capacity to look at themselves. So again, it's a 0 1 year old, which is why we treat it with soft gloves, because there's no point. There's no point in saying anything, because people have available Patrick Teahan, Dr. Daniel Fox, Dr. Daniel Siegel, Stephen Porges, Bezel Vanderkolk, Janina Fisher, Peter Levine. There's so much content online that if any person was caring about their inner well-being, they would have found it. So here, empowered women, man days, come on over. We are a safe haven, secure base for the people who want to live life, because we have 24 hours. And as a herd, we expand consciousness. Human evolution is about this. And the 4D, 3D, they're complete. Just think flat earthers. It's why I'm woo, ladies. Sciences and spirituality, 5D mystics, enjoy your clairs. There's no saga with twin flames. You don't get tested by anything and anyone. Testing, seriously, who's testing who? The whole word test makes me think of a poor kindergartner waiting for that star and a person not noticing. What am I doing? Am I really thinking that people are tests? That's objectifying. So enjoying our relationships and allowing people to make their choices. We don't affect states of consciousness, as Sadhguru shares, but not because of the way he shares it, because he's a spirituality guru. I'm an enlightenment soul age group human being who's here. I have an embodied brain, and so do you. I'm going to explain it to you like a 5-year-old. I have a 0 1 year old. Thank you, teacher Sue Martin. And I have a 3 to 7, and I have my freeze, and my 11, 12, and my 14, 15, 16. And what you're seeing is a grown-up emotional version. It wasn't hard. No, I have a good relationship with my emotions. It's hard for the people who need Patrick Teahan and to reparent themselves. I don't have shame. I got a heart right here. It's a chest. Yes. So, long story short, this is what works when you're empowered. It's not envy. It's not jealousy. You have no shame. You have compassion, because integration of the brain made visible. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. So when you have left and right, they bilaterally communicate. You don't make up excuses. And when you have that lovely Jacob personality, is what this rabbi calls it, the objectivity. So you're not interested in self or other, but you're objective. This is called unflappability of a secure attachment brain. I grew up with beyond the solo self, so I always have. Differences don't mean better or worse. I'm able to stand right here. This is exactly what the inner child who wants to have somebody take their side doesn't like. And we don't back down. It's unflappable. Right now, it's like, yep, I'm not taking your side. I'm right here. And no, didn't ask for you to like it. Okay, so we like to keep expanding together. And the more you're here, the more it's fun, by the way. It's really fun. So we don't wait around for people. We also don't try to tend to any of those who are not healing. Whenever I see, here's 7 ways to try and get the avoidant to like you. I'm like, what? Who's wanting to, oh, wait, that's right. The 0 1 year old of that person is still trying to get the avoidant. Okay, got it. Yes, check. So remember, unfinished business. It's when you have your own first 8 years of the life, you're unconscious, your karma, and you haven't figured it out. And so the first year, that's the secure attachment bit. It's very important to note, okay? So I have good secure attachment, And it is good to have secure attachment, of course, respect all the other attachments, but that's not where your best is. Because avoidant means that you're cut off from your body. Ambivalent means that you are going to consistently null the self of you and try to tend to everybody else's emotions. And the disorganized, that poor self is fragmented. And before they can even be whole, they need to be able to sit in the same room and not feel disgusted or angry or upset at each other. So the inner war needs to first be able to say, okay, stop, hold on. One's in a corner crying, one's in the other corner wanting to beat the other one up. That's how it's described. So when you're attachment trauma informed, you understand the importance. Again, secure attachment, it's good because that's your inner peace. Your 0-1-year-old, though, to get there requires you wanting to get there. And some people, they don't because it's too hard for them to contain and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so please, let's remember we're not competing. But when I see out there, here's how to get I'm just thinking teenager group, recovery, number 4. Where's your secure attachment group? And then again, that's why remember we're a collective of co-creators, and YouTube is out there with all the content for all different types of people. So you got avoidance to say, since avoidants are being teased, I'm going to sit here and stand here and here. I'm an avoidant. Come and be a part of my herd. I'm here to say we all can be our 5D version and support people to get out of what is not their mammalian heritage. Because when you don't have secure attachment and you're avoidant, it's not because you were supposed to have secure attachment. You were given the short end of the stick, but we don't want to say it that way. Patrick Tiahan, come on in, childhood trauma survivor, healed and healing therapist, because he has the experience. I don't have the childhood trauma. Come, Patrick. One of his memes, he tells his community, he says, remember community, we're a minority. There's a lot of cowardice out there. They're called emotionally lazy people. I'm going to use him so that I can have some backup by people who do the work, and I'm not the one. It's not that easy. Nobody said it was easy. You're going to do the work and get out of that. Your poor inner child wants to come out and play. I don't see you thinking of how great a job it did to keep you safe and to get yourself home. Oh, no, but we're all fucked up. And so when I hear teenagers as grown-ups, I'm like, yeah, no. So luckily for me and for all of you, come on over. Let's have fun. Science is spirituality. We don't talk shit behind your back. We'll tell you to your face. And when you put us in a hard spot, we'll be like, okay, now I need to do silence for a little bit. I don't have the right words for it. I get to practice. One thing I get to practice as I get older is how am I going to deal with it? My nervous system, man, you got nervous. So sometimes, yeah, we get like, what is the word? You get nervous. There are moments where I still don't know how to speak because I'm presented with an equation and I'm like, okay, how do I handle a 0-1-year-old who's freaking out inside? I don't want to be mean. But I'm probably going to end up being mean anyways because they're not going to like no's. And this is just in general. So we still care. We just won't lie. So we'll stutter. We'll try and figure out how to speak. And that's why it's beautiful practice. Be kind, be loving, be over here, like, subscribe, share. If you have any questions, you want any topics discussed, let me know. Again, a collective 5D is one group, and then we got the Human Suffering Love group, and that's between 3D, 4D, mantles of mental health, mantles of yoga, spiritual bypassers. We don't know if they're ever going to want to be over here. I believe that I cannot answer that question because I think I already have the answer. I don't like the answer. See, I know my implicit bias. We all can tap into our infinite higher human consciousness potential experience, every single life out there. But do I know that for certainty? We all know that's the whole thing of the split. I don't like splits. I love like the Rumi quote. That's why I'm polyamory. I love with my heart, my soul. I'm not going to say goodbye ever. I'm not cutting you out. Nobody's going to get cut out. And that's why I, as a divine feminine, agree. I have my own divine masculine, feminine. Then I have my divine masculines, and they always just turn me in a certain way, and they remind me, okay, Maria, we're heard. Okay, so those people over there, they keep on creating trouble. And their trouble keeps on taking away valuable resources. And I'm going to give you an equation that you don't have to answer, but let me play a game. You have two options. And the option is you have a volcano and you can get to put people around there, the ones who are not contributing. I'm laughing right now. I surround them all with good therapists. That's my final option. I chose because I'm not living the movies. Okay, so hopefully you get it. An empowered woman, we don't Don't ask a divine feminine to choose anything. We're not going to choose. We're going to know that anybody can always get a good therapist. That's how I share with you. Humanity, you overflow with it. Divinity descends. Thank you, said Guru. Spirituality, sciences, they come together. It's called integration of the brain, being your whole inner child. Tune in for more. Ask your questions. Like, share, subscribe. Again, empowered women, men and days. We come together. And the human suffering, well, it is what it is. Tomorrow's another day. So hopefully we'll be back. La Dolce Vita again is living every day like it's your last one. Mwah.